Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to a new episode of the Late Night Lake Show podcast, powered by 19 Media Group. It is your host, Ricky. I got my boy Raj in the building, man. It's been a minute. Me and Raj were talking a little bit before the show, and we were burning incense, doing prayer circles for Kyrie Irving the last time he stepped into the Late Night Lake Show studios and chopped it up with the gang. But obviously, everything has changed. The Lakers, even though coming off of a Sunday loss to the New York Knicks, are looking, since the trade deadline, 8-4, 7-3 in their last 10. The trajectory, the progress meter is going up, okay? So, before we get into all the Lakers stuff, Raj, brother, how are you, man? How are things? How you been?
I'm good, man. And I was telling you, before the show even started, not just us. I hear it in everyone. Everyone just sounds rejuvenated. Everyone's tenor just feels different. This feels like a brand new team, and you don't usually get that at the trade deadline. You don't usually get a brand new roster, but it's kind of just giving everyone energy. And I'm just right there with everybody. I think it's been a really fun time, and you see Laker Twitter on a whole new level.
Oh my God.
Talking crap as the 11 seed, but that's what we do. No, I'm good, man. I'm rocking the late night lake show gear as well.
Yes,
So
you are.
always,
Appreciate that.
always here to support my guy.
My man. Well, shoot, bro. Let's get into it, man. It is what? It is Monday, March 13th, year of our Lord 2023. The Los Angeles Lakers, as Raj just said, wake up today. They're in the four-way tie with the Thunder, Jazz, and Pelicans for that last play-in slot. And the Lakers are, even though coming off of a loss to the Knicks, like we said, I think everybody's still pretty encouraged. What I appreciate most waking up today, Raj, was that it was dominated by NFL news. It was the start of NFL tampering period, so all hell broke loose
Sure.
with news and trades and players getting released. Not a lot of bitching and moaning on the timeline today. That was a little refreshing. I think it was a little bit of mix of people understanding the Lakers are hot, and yes, they dropped the game and they should have picked up. And Anthony Davis had kind of a lackluster performance on the offensive end. Everybody seemed to be a little bit chill. Didn't it feel a little bit tepid today on the timeline? No pitchforks for Anthony Davis's head, huh?
Well, that's news to me. It was the NFL, whatever. I don't even know what'd you
Yeah,
say?
that's
It's the NFL
it's
free
like their
agency.
pre-free agency.
Free
Yeah,
agency.
yeah.
All right, yeah, that's news to me. Is that why there was all that football on the timeline? I guess. Yeah, I
Oh
didn't,
my
dude. I
God.
don't really pay
Yes,
attention.
Raj. That's why there was all that football all the time. For those that don't know, Raj knows absolutely, or well, he has zero interest in
Zero.
following the NFL. So, his calendar is all about basketball, which we appreciate on the Late Night Lake Show
I saw
podcast.
Aaron Rodgers got traded. I think that's the only thing I knew from today from the
Not
timeline.
yet.
Oh, he didn't.
Everybody's
Okay.
talking about it. No, the Jets players apparently thought it was done, and then they came back tonight and were like, "Oh, actually, we were just reading the tweets just like y'all, and we got excited thinking it was done." No, A-Rod's not traded yet, but the second he is, it'll be a glorious day in the city of Chicago and Bears country for finally having our presser up out of the division. So whoever's gonna get him, New York Jets, I don't care. Retire, just leave the NFL North, Aaron. Seriously, just go. I don't care what you do. Just leave me alone. Enjoy being rich in New York, following the footsteps of Brett Favre, which I'm sure you enjoy plenty. Anyways, back to the Lakers, Raj. I wanted to start here. So Anthony Davis is one of the players that I will defend to the
Yeah.
ends of earth over, right? Like everybody, when AD has his struggles, I'm like, y'all are crazy talking about trading this man. When you sit up there and see these dominant performances and he's in the stretch of playing some of the best defensive basketball that he has all year, and probably at that elite level as he's been since the bubble, right?
Yeah.
But I could not ignore, Raj, since the trade deadline, Anthony Davis has had scoring performances of 17, 13, 12, and 8. Now,
Yeah.
you contrast that with the 38, 39, and a couple of 30-point games, and it leaves you somewhere in the middle of not really knowing what to expect from AD on the opposite end, night in and night out. Brother, let's just start here, right? Defensively, AD has returned to form, but why are we seeing this heaven and hell performances from him on a nightly basis?
So I think the one performance that was strange was the Warriors one, right? So that one was right after the trade deadline, and I think it was D'Lo and Vanderbilt's first game, right? And I think that's the one where he was really passive and not shooting, and for some reason he was out of it. The other ones to me though, Ricky, are like really contextual. I tweeted before the game, and by the way, you're the only person who calls Anthony Davis with his middle name, which is funny. You say Anthony Marshawn Davis. I think you're the
Yeah,
only one on Lakers Twitter that does that, by the way, which is I always get a laugh out of that when you're talking about AD. But no, but for
yeah.
the Raptors one, I said the Raptors defend him. Nick Nurse kind of does this anyway. He goes after superstars in this manner, but he does this to AD all the time when they play him. If you go look at Anthony Davis's line against the Raptors, they're usually not high because he's not able to get a lot of shot attempts. They have OG Anunoby, Siakam, now Barnes, who they can really trap and hedge him. And AD's
Lengthy
like weak.
players.
Right,
Oh,
and his weakest skill, like, as a player is the passing out of double teams, and he can get pushed out of his spot, right? So, even against the Knicks last night, they did the same thing. They sent 2 to 3 on him, and Hartenstein, like, they couldn't even play Mitchell Robinson because he was getting cooked, but, they put in Hartenstein. He's able to
slam door.
shove him. Yeah, he's able to shove him off his spot. So to me, those are like contextual. Did you want AD to be a little bit more aggressive last night? Yeah, but he was 1 for 5 from the free throw line as well. I'm sure that kind of played into it. And plus, Ricky D'Angelo Russell was going nuts. Like
Yeah,
he had like 23 at the half, couldn't miss. And AD is a guy who will like happily read the defense instead of just being like super aggressive. His inability to kind of put the ball on the floor sometimes, and when teams send 2 at him, he'll move the ball. And we have players that should knock down threes. So Troy Brown and Malik Beasley went 2 for 15 from three last night.
yeah.
To me, that's not like to me, the answer to that is not AD shoot through 2 people. The answer is like Malik Beasley and Troy Brown don't shoot like the guy we just traded, and knock down some threes. But yeah, to me, that's what it is. I think AD's been fine. I mean, last night we had 17, 8 for 18. The calls last night, Ricky, were a little bit. I mean, I don't really like to attack referees, but I mean, they were a little tic tacky on one end, and then just weren't getting calls in the other. I think it was like 11-0 free throws in the first quarter. That kind of gets in people's heads. So I think like AD's
You know,
offense will
Raj,
be fun.
I had the family over, man, and
Okay,
I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a glass or 2 of Lobos poured yesterday, but I swear to God, I
gotcha.
was thinking, I was like, the Knicks are getting a lot of whistles early on in this game, so, okay, yeah, I bet. It did seem like the whistle was slanting towards the Knicks' advantage last night, just to say the least, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And those other lines, like you talked about, I mean, the 39 against the Warriors at home, 30 against Memphis on the road. Memphis is a tough team. Those are big time scoring nights. So I don't think
Yep,
these are like anything to worry about. And especially like I think the context that gets lost with all these, and these are all must win games. LeBron's not playing. That's a legit like contextual thing that goes into every game. So I think AD's been fine. You talked about the defense has been incredible. Last night again, he was, I think he controlled the boards well enough to win. We just didn't hit shots and then didn't get to the line. I thought Randall again got that was like really crazy. Julius Randall, God love him. We drafted him number 7, one of the first lottery picks we had. But yeah, got
yep.
a lot of fortunate whistles after after that Clippers game that he played where he was like 4 for 25. So I think AD's been fine, man. And you're right, all the football on the timeline. I guess that was a reason, but there was like no really hand wringing over AD, which I think was the correct way to go about it. I think Anthony Davis has been fine.
It's so funny you mentioned Randall. I think I still have property on Randall Island. I don't think I
Okay.
ever technically sold it, right? I he signed
Did you
a
build much on it? Like, was there like a huge house on it, or did you have like a little condo maybe where you're like, yeah, I'll stay on this for a little bit, but like, what was your where were you living on Randall Island? How are you
You
living?
know what? It's a townhouse, but there was a
Gotcha.
beach view on it,
Okay.
right? Like we
Okay.
are beach property, right? But we have a neighbor that we can. The walls are a little thin, but it's all good, right? No, but like I knew it. You felt it in the wind, just the
Yeah.
way that the the Knicks Clippers game went the day before, literally less
Mhm.
than 24 hours, and Julius Randle getting into it with assistant coaches and saying, "Don't you ever effing put your hands on me," and whether right or wrong or indifferent, he was playing
Yeah.
his former team that let him walk after they signed LeBron James because he knew he was probably going to be traded at some point in time for someone else, and he wanted to, destiny in his own hands. What's funny about that, Raj? I was thinking about it. Randall just ended up going to the Pelicans, which
Yes, he
is
did.
it was like but we could have got you there. We could have, got you paid and got you there. So that's neither here nor there. But yeah, but interesting. I'll have to check in on Randall Island. Unfortunately, it did not seem that the Lakers had too much fun on Sunday. But that wasn't a game. I was necessarily shocked that the
Right.
Lakers dropped. The Knicks are a great team. Tom Thibodeau.
Tough.
Well, the Knicks are a good team. They are really really well coached basketball team. And shout out Tom Thibodeau, former Bulls head coach, right? So we know him well over here in the Chicago area. He, like
Yeah.
you said with Nick Nurse, he kind of designed AD once he realized that there were other options besides Mr. Robinson being put on a smoker pellet grill to slow him down. And that's what happened.
No, yeah, exactly. And I wish AD was a little bit more aggressive against Hartenstein. But again, like when they're sending two on him, and that's kind of the game plan, right? With like LeBron out now and with the guys around, especially if Malik
Yeah.
Beasley's not hot, Troy Brown doesn't have it going. Teams have really started to now, Rickies. It's been a while. People have some film on us. They just don't guard Jared Vanderbilt, and I think like that's also a part of it as well. I think Vanderbilt's like the biggest guy who's been the most hurt by LeBron being out, because now he moves to the four, and then like there's just no real spacing around. So I think that's why you're going to see AD to continue to be doubled. The Pelicans are going to have a little bit tougher time with that. I think he pretty much plays well in New Orleans. That's a place that he has some desire to play well for, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah, he used to play there obviously, but yeah, like I think that's kind of where you'll see it. Teams are gonna send doubles at him, but I'm not worried about AD scoring. We hit some open shots. I mean, we had no business even really being in that one last night. A lot of it was the physicality, the free throws. Randall had to go. I mean, Ricky Randall and Barrett had 30 each. I mean, that's just like that's like
Yep.
tough to overcome. And then all our guys couldn't hit shots. So I wasn't mad at the last night's loss really at all. A team again 8-4 since the deadline, playing well without LeBron. D'Lo has come back and just like he's been here 2 years. Like man, that is just
Goodness, man.
just
Let's do
nuts
it.
to watch what he's doing.
Let's get into D'Lo.
Yeah,
Actually,
set
let's take
this
a
set
quick
this
break.
up.
Right, and then yeah, let's get into D'Lo. Appreciate you, Raj. Late Night Lake Show. We'll be right back.
The Late Night Lake Show podcast is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best legal way to play daily fantasy player props in states like California, New York, Texas, and more. You pick 2 to 5 players and an over-under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry. The best part is you can mix players from different sports. You could take the over on LeBron combined with the under on Mahomes in the same entry. Prize Picks is the easiest way to play daily fantasy because it's just you versus the projected numbers. Just use our promo code LNLS and any deposit you make can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. So go support the brand and go win you some money. It's the best of both worlds. Again, use our promo code LNLS.
Hey Raj, real quick before we get into the
Yeah.
D'Lo talk, so you saw that the NBA is getting closer with the Players Association on a new collective bargaining agreement, which is great. We don't need any stoppage of basketball, but we see that a big chip that was the progress was made on. Shams Charania reported today was implementing a rule for a minimum number of games played for the major awards, which
Right.
you can assume was the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, so on and so forth. I'm not sure if it's going to affect all NBA. I think that's what a lot of people were asking about as like one of the bigger ones, right? But wanted to get your thoughts on the NBA kind of adding this threshold, kind of prerequisites to even be considered. Because I'm gonna be honest, like I didn't really have an opinion one way or other because I thought they
Yeah.
kind of were doing that just without it being a rule anyway.
I do too. To me that doesn't really move me. Like I feel like the voters gonna vote for who they want. I mean, you're gonna have like if you put a threshold, right, and like let's say you have the top 5 for MVP, and then the top 3 don't fit that, so you're giving the MVP to someone who would have finished fourth, in MVP in a regular voting kind of situation. My only feeling about this, Ricky, and I'm ask you how you feel because I think this is kind of polarizing, but I don't really care. I do think we should put like I think 3 straight MVPs should matter. Like I think that like that context around that should matter. Like people say like, yeah, you should only judge the MVP by what happens this year. But a guy getting 3 straight MVPs, like, you should earn that should be an earned thing. Like, that should like, they're saying you doing this in a vacuum, but it's not in a vacuum. We can add context to anything that we wanna add context to, and I feel like that should be contextualized. 3 straight MVPs for a guy who's made one conference final. Nothing against Nikola Jokic. I think he's an absolutely brilliant basketball player. I'm just saying, like, I think if we're gonna give a guy 3 straight MVPs, let's add that context into it. It's not like, oh no, he was just the best player in 2021, and he was the best player in
Right.
2022, and he's the best player in 2023. No, history books are gonna go back and look like this guy won 3 straight MVPs and didn't make an NBA. You know what I mean? Like, add the context to it. You want to add the 65 games limit? That's fine. I mean, I guess how many stars play that nowadays?
Jokic would still be there. So
Yeah, no,
I don't
yeah, he
think
would.
this was obviously made around him, right? But it's like, I to your point, I don't really know how much this really changes
Yeah,
anything, especially since it's very advanced analytic driven of how voters are conducting their major yearly league accomplishment awards. So I think we're on the same page with that, Rod. It's like,
I'm with you though. Let's get a quick agreement. That lockout was tough. I remember the game didn't start till like Christmas Day. I think Derrick Rose hit like some crazy one hand floater to beat us on that day. I don't know if you remember that. The game was
no, I
on.
remember it like it was yesterday. I got
Okay, okay,
jumped
great.
by family members because I'm always repping the Lakers no matter where I'm at. I was at my auntie house surrounded by Bulls fans and the heat of it, man. It just fuels me. That's why I'll never forget those moments. And yeah, no, and then Kobe shot it over like
5
every
people.
Chicago
Yeah,
Bull at the time. And I think either Taj got a hand on it or, got
yeah.
a partial block. And yeah, it made their year. It made every Chicago Bulls fan's year. Yeah,
That
and they
that
had
was
the
the Josh McRoberts game, by the way. I remember we signed Josh
holy shit.
McRoberts that summer, and he was
Josh
like,
McBuckets,
he was,
baby.
he was like a big part of that game, which is a sad thing to say, 10, 13 years later. But yeah, Josh McRoberts was like a big part of that one game. But yeah, so yeah, let's get a quick agreement to the bargaining agreement. Let's not have any time off from the NBA.
Amen. All right, back to the D'Lo talk. Now, I don't want to. I don't want to be extra. I don't want to over exaggerate what we're teeing up to talk about with D'Angelo Russell. So I'm just going to say the numbers.
Go
Numbers
ahead.
don't lie, right? Since returning from his sprained ankle, D'Angelo Russell is shooting 64% from the field, and he is shooting 57% from three. Now I'll just say that again in case you guys are on the road or like your kid just came and kicked you and now you got to yell at them for a couple of seconds. So I'll just repeat it again. D'Angelo Russell, since returning from his ankle injury, is shooting 64% from the field and 57% from three, and he's averaging 8.5 assists. I could not think of a better second go round with D'Angelo than what he is doing. He is fearless. It seems like he is mature. I think he understands the moment. Yes, it is a contract year, so who wouldn't be on their best behavior? But damn it, I would assume D'Angelo Russell, out of all the places he could have been back on, the team that drafted him in Southern California would probably be the team he'd want to impress the most with the two players that he said that he wanted to play with the most in LeBron James and Anthony Davis. This is the D'Angelo Russell that we are seeing today. Raj, where are you seeing the biggest surprise for you in D'Lo's game? Because we knew he could catch fire. We knew ice in my veins was always there, man. But this is dare I say, a more mature, refined player than the one that we left, obviously years ago, but probably more mature than the one that left Minnesota just a few weeks ago.
So I made this like comp on Twitter, and this really like makes sense to me. It feels like D'Lo was drafted here, and then he left for like college. Like he went for like in the college experience, which is the Brooklyn. And in college, you have your fun, whatever. In Brooklyn, he made
Yep.
the All-Star team. Went to Minnesota, had to grow up a little bit more. Golden State made him grow up real fast, right? Like, we'll trade you in 2 months if we want to learn the league. He had a quote last night, which is interesting. They asked him about Julius Randle. He's like, what's your relationship with Julius Randle? He's like, I don't have no relationship. Like, we're just teammates. Like, I don't really have friends in the league, and like that's you don't have to be that crazy in terms of like that kind of psychotic and like no friends in the league, no
LeBron
friends
has plenty of friends in the league.
right, or like no friends in the industry, whatever. But like to me, it
There you
shows like a
go.
level of like maturity and stuff from him. And yeah, like it's like he went away to college and came back with all this polish, all this experience. The plays he's running, Ricky, are like similar. So we used to run ball screens for him when he was a rookie, but now it's like with all this, like he throws that skip pass, it's on the
Yep.
money, it's on the time. He's no longer like doing what a defense wants him to do. He's now like reading and manipulating defenses. You threw the numbers out there. Those are all great. Those are all-star level numbers. We both, watch all of these games. I try to post the film as much as I can. He's in like a level of like poise and control and
Mhm.
comfortability with himself, with his game. And then you put that next to like Anthony Davis. And he's used the word easy a lot too in his quotes, especially when he played with LeBron and AD. But he used the word easy, like it's so easy. It's not a term you hear a lot on the NBA floor, right? You hear a lot of, oh, we gotta learn, I gotta learn the team, and I gotta learn the system. And there's a lot of quotes you hear from new guys. He's learned the term, he used the term easy a lot. And that's what you see. His game is so smooth. a
Yep.
defender a defender goes under the screen, he's pulling. Like there's no like, oh, should I shoot this? I'm the new guy on the team. Defender goes under the screen,
That
I'm
that
pulling. It doesn't
thing is
matter.
on,
Right, and then
gone.
it's gone. Yeah, and then like it's just double drag screen. If the defender goes this way, I hit AD on a lob. Like, and like he has all the skills to back up the knowledge. Like, so like those two things are combining in a way that a player that's 27 is supposed to. But he's just in a completely different, class. And then the fit with AD is just night and day. I mean, I've been begging for a guard that can shoot off the, we did a Kyrie pod a year ago from here, and similar kind of things were said. Where like you can get a guard that can shoot off the dribble. It didn't even have to be someone great. I was like, can we get, Kyrie was one of the best of them. D'Lo's up there. He's shooting like 40% on pull up threes off the dribble. Those are like star jump shooting numbers. And that's where you're seeing him just in total control. Now, do I think he's going to average 30? No. Like, he's not going to average 30 for the rest of the season. If he does, he's getting a lot of money this summer. But like, I don't think he's going to average like 30 points a game as he did this weekend. But he's just in a control, man. And it's really cool to see like a guy we drafted come back and like be able to do that. A guy you were invested in. I don't know how you felt about D'Lo around that time and the time that we
Mhm.
drafted him, but I remember I was super sad when he was traded for Brooke Lopez and whatever the hell that was. So it's cool, man, and he's in a groove and comfortability with himself that is nice to see on a team that was lacking, guards that can score and put pressure on defenses like he can.
Oh man, now you're bringing me back to, well, first of all, I was on the D'Lo train. I told my barber, and it's funny, with your barber, you always
Yeah,
have these long lasting conversations, and like, what you talk about 4 years ago can resurface again because news is cyclical always. But anyways, I was talking about D'Lo early on with these years with the Lakers, I told him, I was like, man, D'Lo gonna be an all-star, man, in 2 to 3 years. He's going to be an all-star. And then we started going through the West guards at the time, and we were like, well, all right, well, it's a little tough. Like, okay, maybe there's some competition out there right now. But
yeah,
lo and behold, the Lakers ended up trading him to Brooklyn, and then he ended up being a substitute all-star that
yeah,
season. It was like, well, I guess I was right. So, long story short, right? I was also very high on D'Lo, and honestly, when he got traded, it was during that time period where we were in the Paul George
right,
superstar sweepstakes, right? We went the Paul George year, then we went the LeBron year, then we had the Anthony Davis year with Paul George that didn't end up happening. But it was like 3 straight summers where
yeah,
we were going after one of the big names. And when we traded D'Lo, I was like, all right, here we go. Here we go. Something's got to. I changed my Twitter name to Rob. You got 24 hours. So, and nothing ended up coming of that trade in the short term, right? But I did think it ended up clearing the right cap space to afford a max superstar that ended up coming a year later in LeBron James, right? So, man, good times, memory lane with
well,
D'Angelo Russell. All these memory lane players, him, Dwight. Who else? Who else spun the block? Trevor Ariza. Well, that was a forgettable one. Dog, I forget. I'm just erasing that one from my memory.
Oh no,
Trevor
that
Ariza didn't
that
have
that
a
didn't happen. But if you remember, really during that time, D'Lo was traded for non-basketball reasons. I mean, he was traded so that Lonzo could be the leader of the. Remember all you remember all
oh,
those quotes. So like again, these are in the past. Magic Johnson,
these magic quotes. That's
these
right.
are magic quotes. So like, and these are real quotes. These aren't his tweets that are really
Right.
strangely saying
Not
the
to be
obvious for
confused
some
with magic
reason.
tweets. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so he was traded for like because he wasn't a leader, all these like really platitudes and stuff that you can give on any player. Lonzo hadn't even played a minute yet, and like that he was like supposed to come and be the leader of the team, and which we're all like as a guy was rooting for the team. I was like, D'Angelo Russell was our best player. I mean, like he just hit a game-winning shot. That was the last shot of his Laker career. We played the Timberwolves. I don't know if you remember this, but like he had a game-winning
Man.
three. And then I think like something happened with his family during that time. He had a walk-off interview, but then he was traded a couple weeks later for Brooke Lopez and whatever, just salary cap relief. But yeah, like it's cool to see him just return and come back as like an adult, like a player who's like very comfortable and very clearly the second best player on the team right now without LeBron playing, obviously. So like he's really stepped into that. Ricky, I think the thing I didn't like expect the most, I'll ask you this too, the embrace of like, the pressure. Like players come here and they want to play well, but he like not only did that, he's like embracing it, like the pull up three in transition, the amount of like gusto to do that with like,
Yep.
with like 15 on the shot clock. It's a 2-point game against the Toronto Raptors in the fourth quarter, and it's a transition pull up three because I'm feeling it. And then like telling the crowd, like, I'm that guy. Like, that's the stuff I didn't expect. That's stuff that I don't think, like, if you ask Minnesota people, that's not what they were. He wasn't like, that's not what's happening in Minnesota, I don't think, at least from what I've read or what I've seen.
Well, not
Obviously, like,
this year. That's
no,
for
no,
sure.
no. And you listen to his comments on Rudy Gobert, well, valid concerns of Rudy Gobert's basketball acumen, whatever you want to say about that. Maybe it's not the
Right.
best as a teammate thing, but yeah, like just to come here and the embrace of the crowd, number one, the embrace of the pressure, and then taking those like shots where like he could easily be like, you know what, let me fit in. Dennis Schroeder's been the starting point guard. Austin Reeves has been here all year. Let me like play make and like be passive a little bit. That I would have, expected. But no, he's come in and just fired away those transition threes and stuff like that. It's just it's cool to watch him embrace that. So I think that's something I didn't really expect him to like embrace Los Angeles in a way that I just didn't see happening this quickly.
And it's weird. You go back a couple of years when D'Lo went from Brooklyn to Golden State.
Yeah,
The rumors about the Lakers being interested in D'Angelo Russell popped up then, right?
they
And
did.
I
Yeah,
think Rob, at the very least, planted the seeds of, yeah, the breakup was ugly, but that was the other guy. That was the other guy. That wasn't me, right? And I'm here and interested in case you ever become a free agent again. And it's funny. It ended up happening where I think D'Lo, as he told it, he was somewhere in a helicopter getting flown out by the Timberwolves or whatever, and
yeah,
then his agent was signing with the Warriors, and it was just a whole bunch of craziness. But it's funny how, and let that be a lesson for all y'all listeners, right? The conversations that you have today and the amends that you make today, you don't need to see the fruits of that right away. Just
yep,
relax. Just do right by people, do good to people, and then later on, you never know what that turns into. And what that ended up turning into was a very mature, his prime point guard for the Los Angeles Lakers. But if he's not in ankle braces starting next year, Raj, we're gonna have problems. All right. I'm not playing these games real quick. No, I'm not playing the D'Lo sprained ankle. I'm not playing the Mo Bamba sprained ankle. I know it's part of the game, right? But let's not make that part of our equation going forward. Because if memory serves me correctly, D'Angelo Russell has had ankle turns even back with his Laker tenure. He's had some sprained ankles and things, and it's dinged it up. You better get on the Steph Curry plan, brother. You, LaMelo, I don't care. One bodysuit. Just we need to protect you because you are that perfect piece that fits next to LeBron and AD. And LeBron, get your ass back here, man. We saw LeBron speed walking into the arena like he was late for class the other day. But in all seriousness, LeBron James did remove the boot. The boot is
Hmm.
gone. He is now free to walk. And Raj, I know I'm the extra one, but it looked like a normal pace to me. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, I'm sure LeBron keeps all these medical stuff really tight to the vest. People, I'm sure his trainer and very few other people can really know what's going on. But I think, Ricky, I'm the optimist one, but like, I know this might
That's right.
sound way too optimist, but just hear me out. I think like it's pretty nice. LeBron gets a little, because remember, AD was out for like 20 something games, and LeBron had to kick it into almost playoff gear.
Zero dark 30.
Yeah, for a roster that really didn't deserve it, right? Let's be honest. I mean, like for a roster that had no business, deserve is probably the wrong word, but like a roster that had no business winning the games that it was. If you remember, we beat Sacramento on the road, one of those games as well, I believe. Like there was just games where like he had to really turn it up for, and LeBron getting like a month off before the playoffs. That's not a horrible situation. Obviously, the Lakers have, I think, already kind of are ahead of schedule in terms of their win loss record. I mean, they just beat the Warriors, Memphis, and the Raptors. All three teams who trying to win. Obviously, Memphis without Ja, Warriors were with Steph, and the Raptors who are a solid team also trying to win. Like those are big wins to kind of bank. So I'm
Yeah.
living on that side of it. Look, none of this. I don't know about you, Ricky, but I'm kind of on like this is a 2-year process to me. Like at least I feel like this is like a 2-year process with this team. So like if we
Okay.
can kind of build reps, AD and D'Lo build reps, and then LeBron come back and try to be frisky in the playoffs, winning like 4 rounds where you don't have home court. That's not really like something that teams do. But LeBron get a month off for the playoffs. You can jump to the if you can jump to the 7 or 8, and get in that way with a rested LeBron. AD looks, we talked about him to start the show. Looks rejuvenated. Looks back to form. He takes a few games to get going, right? If you remember early in the year, early to start the season, a lot of people also were asking like, "Hey, what happened to AD? Like, what's going on?" Then he had that like MVP run, had like 50 in Washington or something
Yes,
like
he
that.
did.
Just went just nuts, and then obviously got hurt. I forgot what game it was. I believe against Denver, and then yeah, now he's back. Now he's back in his groove. Hopefully, I'm hoping LeBron can come back. So they said three. I think they said like a week from Sunday, right? Is the 3 week mark if I have that correct. So that was like the reevaluation point. If he can come back by like April 1st, get a few games under the belt before
Yeah.
the playoffs. Like that's to me, that's like best case scenario. Like I think that's like the best case scenario to me, and it's so sad, bro. Like that Pelicans game was beautiful. You got to see the full team, D'Lo, Braun, and AD together with
Yeah,
like
I need that back.
with like 2 practices under their belt, and the Pelicans were like, "What the hell do we do? Like help on AD on the we help on the AD drive, and D'Lo's open or like." I just hope we get to see it a few more games. But yeah, if he can come back by like end of April, that gives him 5 more games to kind of ramp up for the playoffs. But that's where I'm at with it. Hopefully he can come back. This team needs to operate as if he's not. If that makes sense. Like the team needs to
Yeah.
operate in terms of like we're not getting LeBron back. Let's just win a shit ton of games. But until then, they got to keep just racking up wins to try to get in this playoff spot.
It's funny, Raj. The folks, when they talk about the 2020 championship, they're like, well, if
Hmm.
Anthony Davis and LeBron James didn't have all their rest, they wouldn't have had that performance. And while this is a different situation, Anthony Davis was banged up going into that bubble break.
Yeah.
AD was banged up during this season. Now I'm not too familiar on the different timeline. I think we had 3 months off in the before the bubble, man. So like, or some outrageous, right? So obviously it's not apples to apples, but LeBron is enjoying his vino, rehabbing, watching Bronny rise up the ranks of prep basketball, right? High
Yeah.
school basketball. And Anthony Davis had his recovery period, and he is healthy. He is healthy. Like whatever he's got to get done after the season, this is the
Yeah,
healthiest we're going to see Anthony Davis for the rest of the year. But I think right. I think that's fair to say. Um,
100%.
so we'll see. It's like I think every Laker fan is getting greedy, looking up at that 6 seed, thinking that well that's just 2 games. That's just 2 games back. The Warriors, we just beat the Warriors. We got to see them again soon, right? What's our next game against the Warriors? What's our schedule looking like coming up? Who we got next? We
Pelicans and
have.
Rockets.
That's right. Oh, we have a nice little stretch coming up, actually.
Yep. Yeah. Very winnable stretch.
That Pelicans Rockets back to back. Hey, Raj's predictions. Let's get some mystical music going. Is Anthony Davis playing on Wednesday, March 15th? It is the
Yes,
second game of a back to back.
I understand. I think he will. I think this is tired times. I think these are like, this is the home stretch, and I think he will. Against Houston too. I mean, it's not like you're playing a huge, team. Play him 15 minutes, get the game over with, and settle it down. Don't even put that game into chance. Like, just play hard for 15 minutes. You can put away the Rockets, who are actually giving Boston, as we record, like a pretty tough time. But you play the Rockets. You care for 20 minutes. You put the Rockets away and get that win for sure.
Lakers have a lot of, and then I think following up after that is an Orlando game, which
Hmm.
if folks haven't been watching the Orlando Magic,
Tough.
they are a tough out. They are a scrappy team. They are a young team, and they'll get after it. So Lakers should take care of it because these are all must-win games. So there's really not a lot of room for error. We talked a little bit earlier in the show about how the Knicks loss wasn't as surprising, even without Jalen Brunson, just for all the other factors that play into professional sports with human beings, right? So,
Right.
a couple more topics with Raj before I get my man out of here. Um, I would like to know, and if I have to start a campaign with Late Night Lake Show, we do have a lot of juice in these streets these days, to
Sure.
find Malik Beasley's 3-point shot. Damn it, I will. We will put up. We will put up. Have you seen his shot signs all through LA County? If we have to, brother. Malik Beasley, unfortunately, is looking like the latest victim of I joined the Los Angeles Lakers and my 3-point shot falls off of an effing cliff. Now, D'Angelo Russell was
Mhm.
out for a stretch of games, and the guys passing him the ball, Dennis Schroeder, I joked on the timeline, gets paid by the dribble. And so getting those open shots and finding someone in their
Mhm.
comfort zone, their groove, might be a little bit more difficult. But nonetheless, Malik Beasley's averaging 11 and 3 on 32% shooting from three on 7.7 attempts per game. Now,
Yeah.
I love the number of attempts, to be honest with you.
Me
I
too.
think that's fantastic. We don't have people like that in Lakerland too often, right? But talk to me a little bit, Raj, about how we can get bees kind of back on track. Is D'Lo the key? Is it LeBron's weeks away, right? We know he would help,
Yeah.
but that's weeks down the road. Kind of help me understand how we could get Beasley back into rhythm.
Yeah, so like it's weird. Malik Beasley's shot selection isn't really like it doesn't really matter who he's playing. Like, look at the shots he's taking. They're contested, they're tough,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
catching it. I would like him to be a little bit more choosy. Like, I get it. I think Darvin Ham, and I've agreed with it. Told him, you catch the ball, you fire. I don't care where you are. If you can see the rim, shoot it. I think though you should let, success be your guide sometimes, like let success be your guide sometimes. And I think like when he's
That's a bar.
over when he's 0 for 7, there's no need to shoot with three guys with a guy in your face, right? Let's wait, let's get an open one. He's good enough, Ricky, to like ball because teams are because of what I love is like volume over percentage, right? People love to stare at percentages. I remember when we got Dennis Schroeder 2 years ago, not this season, but people are like he shot 39% from three. But yeah, he takes 6 seconds to shoot. No one's guarding him. Like Malik Beasley is a volume shooter, so teams still fly out on him. You watched the game last night. He's not open on any of these. Teams still double. They trap the ball screen when he's up. I would just like a little bit more ball fake drive. He has that in his game. He has floaters in it. Let him get going that way. But like I think people are gonna be. I mean, they're gonna be upset with the misses, but like you live with the misses to get the 6 for 8 3 game, right? Like that's what you're
Absolutely.
living for. You're not, and you're gonna get 1 for 8 games too. Like that's the part of Malik Beasley that you're gonna kind of live with. But the part that I think you should be understood is he'll always be guarded, and that's a skill. Like that's something that's like that's a huge thing to add to this team. When I mean, Ricky, just think about it conceptually. Our backcourt went from Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverly to D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley. That's a
Yeah.
huge difference in archetype of guards, right? So I think Malik Beasley is still bringing that. Now that doesn't mean he doesn't have to hit shots. I'd like him to be a little bit more selective, but it's kind of who he is. He's in year whatever. I don't know what year he is now. In the league, was drafted in 2016 to Denver. It's 2023. 7 years in the league. He knows what he is.
Oh, it's a
He's
year
going
after D'Lo. I thought,
right.
yeah, I
Yeah,
thought he.
didn't really start making his way obviously until the second and third year, but it's neither here and there. He knows who he is. He's gonna shoot threes, sometimes ball fake go to the rim. But I would like him to be a little bit more selective. Maybe that's a team thing. Maybe you talked about LeBron won't be here for a while. That's obviously when he got his best looks, when he was getting wide open looks. Now they're a little bit more contested. Teams stay with him, but I'm still fine with it. You talked about it. You love the attempts. I love the attempts. Get them up. Like he's gonna hit them eventually. Last night obviously was 2 for 8 or something like that. You just can't have that, and then also Troy Brown going 0 for 8 again. Troy, let success be your guide. Sometimes, like just sometimes let success be your guide. But that's fine.
I told because Troy has been, to his credit, playing some
He's
good
been awesome.
basketball.
He's been incredible.
Like, oh my god, what'd you say on the time? You had a comp for him. You said he turned into somebody.
Yeah, dude, he
Um,
morphed into KCP, and their
yeah,
measurables, by the way, are just uncanny. So he's actually an inch taller than KCP, and he's 10 pounds heavier. But he's quick too on his feet. He's obviously not. KCP makes $18 million a year. I mean, Troy Brown's a
right.
minimum player, right? So like you're comparing them in terms of what they've done in the league, but he was incredible for he he's he's owed a bad game. Like he's allowed to have a bad game. And last night was a bad Troy Brown game. You don't want to stack bad games together, but he's been incredible, and he was wide open on a lot of those shots. You just got to live with those. Two of those go down, we win probably, which is
Yeah.
probably tough on Troy Brown to hear, but like it's 2 open threes and we win. But he's been incredible. He's morphed into KCP, which is again just unheard of value that him Dennis have given at minimum value contract, at minimum signings. You know what I mean? So I know we don't love to give Rob a lot of credit. That's a slippery slope giving Rob Flink any type of any type of
Public
credit, but
admiration.
public
Yeah,
admiration, yeah. But Troy Brown and Dennis have been nails for us.
they have, and I'm tough on Dennis. I swear I'm tough on Dennis. He just annoys the living hell out of me. Um, but Troy, to your point, I do forget from time to time that he is a minimum player, right? Like
He is.
he is surprising in the fact that he's a little bit more shifty, right?
Hmm.
He got a little bit more sauce with his the game than I expected him to when he's on the ISO or he's in in transition to get to the basket. I thought he was a little bit more around the 3-point line, but damn it, I forget who told me this a few weeks back that Troy is a fantastic good quality shot maker.
Yeah.
But when there's partially guarding him or guarding him, it gets a little rough. So I'm like, well, all right. But then you see a game where he's jacking the open ones, and I think that's where the frustration builds in. But Troy, keep doing your thing, man. This year, here's your first late night lake show. To clap. Keep doing your thing, brother. I have to move on to my final topic before I get some predictions out of Raj. My boy, I almost changed the name of the whole show. I'll change the whole name of the production to the Rui Hachimura Network. That's just how much in Raj. I don't think that Rui is the greatest basketball player of all time. That's not what I'm saying when we get into this topic. I just think Rui knows what he does and he sticks to that a lot. And he has not perfected his game, but damn it, when he pulls up from mid range or when he's doing a back down and then a turn over the shoulder or he's doing a 2 dribble pull up, I think that's cash. And that is a lot to say from somebody that is that size, right? That you wouldn't just naturally think like, okay, yeah, that's a knockdown shooter, especially in the mid range. They gave him the light Kawhi comes from just being methodical and getting to
Hmm.
his spots right. Now that doesn't go to say that I have not seen Rui hit a three since 1965, and but that's what I was told, that he was a corner 3-point shooter. But whatever. I'm just here to give Rui his flowers, especially for a guy that is coming in off the bench, also in a contract season where his future is a little bit up in limbo. Just hit me with some Rui love real quick. How nice is it to see a guy coming off the bench that can get his own bucket at that size?
So I don't like to use the word trash, but like it's like one man's throwaway is another's treasure, right? You've heard that before. I mean, you look at
Yep.
that trade, Ricky. I mean, Kendrick Nunn and second round picks for Rui Hachimura, big time talent. You don't usually get 23, 24-year-old guys who are 6'8", 240 or whatever the hell he is. That's another guy. Just lock him in the room with Phil Handy this summer and see what comes
Oh my
out.
god.
But so like I remember like reading about him in Washington. Everyone's like, all he wants to do is shoot mid range jumpers. I love that here, honestly. Like I'm like, take all your mid range jumpers, all the ones you want. He'll never get double. He'll never see double coverage here. He can attack and steal. He can get to his shot whenever he wants, and that's such a luxury to have. He's such. I call him the release valve because like when the offense is stagnant, right? And you saw this against Toronto a lot, especially we were down like 10, couldn't create a shot, right? Toronto switches everything. Our guards couldn't get by Jakob Pertl, obviously all their wings. Ruby's like, give me the ball, two dribble, pull up, mid range, cash. Ricky's shooting 50% on mid range jumpers. That's like 2012 Chris Paul level. You know what I mean? Like that. That's how good you have to shoot mid range jumpers to take them at the rate he does. And he hits 50% on mid range pull ups, and that's a
Mm.
shot. That's a playoff shot. The Kawhi
Yes.
comps. It's a playoff shot, right? And the Kawhi comps are more from like the stylistic view. Obviously, he's not Kawhi Leonard, but when you're that big, that strong, and they've got him to rebound more, you see him care about defense. Like if you could put those, like in Washington, they have a questionable culture for sure. Like that's a nice way to put it. I'm not really sure what's going on over there, but like you put him in this system, and I love him off the bench, honestly. And a guy to tie this to, I know this is like your last question here, but I think we'd be remiss not to talk about Austin Reeves. I love like the
Yeah.
I love the Austin like Rui bench. Like they just fit really nice. Rui has all this brute strength with skill, and then Austin's like all this skill, right? With like not a lot of strength to it. And they just
Yeah.
blend nicely. They're like their ball screen like pairing is really fun. And I think we have a really nice bench, and Rui being able to just get his shot whenever he wants is a
Yep.
skill, especially when you're pairing him. Darvin, excuse me, has decided that Dennis gets his own unit to run in the second unit, right? So he's given him, you see D'Lo and AD not even be a part of that. I don't agree with that, but neither here and there. But like having Rui to be able to be like, all right, we're not getting anything. Dennis is unable to get to the rim. Austin, isn't able to get to his pull up. Let's just post up Rui here, and he can just jab step, pull up, and it's a it's a high percentage shot. That's a luxury for a team. Like if you remember, so we had this like shiny new toy syndrome, right? Where like
Yeah. Right.
what's the shiny new toy? Rui was the shiny toy for like 3 days, right? We had Rui, played a few games. He was like the third option because it was like LeBron, AD, Rui, and then we traded for Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, D'Angelo Russell, right? So like all that shiny new toy stuff. But he's been super solid, and he's hitting corner threes. He hit timely threes. He's not afraid of the moment too, which I love. Like that's a really big thing to me when I see a player like that. You never know when they come here, so he's been fun, man. And he's not a star, like you said. He's not the greatest basketball player, but he's just like you put him in he's probably like the role for him is probably limited for like what he wants to be in the league, but
Mm.
it just fits perfectly. He's able to, again, he'll never see double coverage. He's able to attack one on one, and these are just options he didn't get in Washington. He was a big brute guy that teams put their big defender on. Now it's like we gotta look for AD. Who do we put on AD? Was he who we put on LeBron when he's healthy? And then oh yeah, let's put our third most strong defender on Rui Hachimura, and he can like pick on them. And Darvin Ham for some reason doesn't play him and Vanderbilt together. They're like oil and water for some reason to him. So you'll see like his minutes kind of fluctuate with how well Vanderbilt's playing. So if you look at those two, but I disagree with that. I would like to see Rui and Vando together. I think Rui's offense is just needed. He fills the LeBron role basically because LeBron's not here. So I like him, man. I think he's a awesome addition. I hope we'll be able to keep him. And again, like just another guy we added 3 weeks ago. Like it's like
Isn't that crazy?
we had our summer in 3 weeks, but Yeah, so I'm
What
excited.
Rob call it? Pre-agency?
Free agency, yes.
Yeah, that's the
I'm
truth, man. You got a couple of players that you either have rights to or,
right.
they'll be restricted. Um, God damn it, Raj. I said I would go through this pod and not speak ill on him, but F it, man. What's your take on Mo Bamba, bro? Like, I get it. I get it. I get it. Deterrent at the rim, big body, contest shots. I Hey, big boy you. I'm gonna get a sign back there. This is Ricky's big boy you, right? You gotta I need a little bit more brought to the table. Yes, sprained ankle right now. Understood. Get all that. Mo, I've seen smaller people kind of body you at the rim, brother. I have not seen you at the rim. Like Rod, I know rappers want to be ball players and ball players want to be rappers, but damn it, Mo, you are 7 feet tall. You are not Steph Curry. The numbers, the numbers, the numbers. Look at the numbers of 3-point shooter he is. God damn it, if God gave you 7 feet, why are you not dunking more? Sorry, Raj, but before we get out of here, I just need your Mo Bamba because I think Darvin kind of in Darvin's shit list too because he'll play sparingly and then just be in the outhouse for the rest of the game. Talk to me about Mo Bamba. Tell the audience how you like him, you don't like him. I don't know. Just another opinion besides mine on this show about Mo Bamba.
Well, the most interesting to me thing about Mo Bamba isn't even Mo Bamba, the player, the person, whatever. It's like the split in our front office and our coaching. Like, just think again, like conceptually, Ricky, we traded our starting shooting guard for Mo Bamba.
Yeah,
Like, they just think
yeah,
about that from like a front office versus a coach perspective. Like, to me, that's the most interesting part. The player, I mean, he's a 39% 3-point shooter. He's a high volume 3-point shooter. He's what Thomas Bryant was supposed to be, right? Thomas Bryant was labeled as this shooter. Thomas Bryant takes like 1.8 threes per game. Mo Bamba takes like 11 per 36 minutes. They're a totally different archetype of player. We won't really know, right? He's out for 4 weeks. That's basically the season. I mean, I'm not really sure when he'll come back. He was very like matchup dependent anyway. To me, like Wenyen's better than him as just an overall player. Like, if I had to choose, I would think Wenyen's actually the more viable player when he just can't shoot. Some Bamba can give that spacing. Bamba's like a very rigid player. It means like you can only play drop coverage with him. He can't move his feet. He can't slide. He can't switch. He couldn't play. I think he played the first half versus the Warriors and then was terrible in the second half. So never played. Um, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they decide on him because they won't really have him a lot of tape. He's a slow-footed big who shoots threes, like who's tall, like who can protect the rim in a theoretical space. But guards still come at him. They still score on him. He gets some blocks, but those are all like those blocks don't really like move me in terms of like him as a defensive anchor. I don't really know what he is, and I think that's the sad part. But I think they have an option for him or something next season. I think he has like a team option or
I
a
do.
player option maybe. The Magic gave them like the full MLE, which is kind of crazy this summer, and then moved him for whatever they traded him for. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't really have a real feeling on him either way because he's played what 2 games for the Lakers. I mean, I'm not sure what he is yet.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. No.
he's a spot up shooter who couldn't shoot until like the last few games. I think he had a few threes in that one. The jumper takes a while to shoot. But he's tall, so I don't know how much that matters. He's a pick and pop theoretical big. I like Wenyen better. I don't know. I don't know what he is though yet. So that's a lot on
Yeah.
Mo Bamba, but yeah, I don't know what he is yet, bro. I'm wondering if they'll resign, if they'll bring him back, honestly. But it just sucks that he's out. I think like we need a little bit more size, probably. Like he could have filled in a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, oh God, I know this isn't part of Mobamba, but like him being out kind of leads to this. It's like a domino that. So we played Wenyan at center, and so then Darvin Ham plays zone because he goes in all bench unit. So we play zone. Bamba's out there. I don't think we go to a zone. You don't need to. Those are things that like kind of annoy me about it. But I don't know. Maybe they'll get someone with a 15 spot. Maybe I don't know. I'd rather just play your
Who
boy Max
you saying?
Christie.
Give me a name. Give me a name.
See,
We
see,
going
but
to China to go rescue Dwight? What we
no,
doing?
no. Here's my thing. I'd rather just play the guy you chose, Max Christie. I'd rather just him get minutes than go and get a
I
15th
like the
guy.
guy I
Uh,
chose. I
yeah,
did I did predict that,
you
by the
did.
way.
That was pretty crazy. I remember I remember that. Max Christie, by the way, looks yoked. I mean, just a
Dog,
totally different player than
overnight, man. He's on the same and like, they're not the same player. They're not the
Mhm.
same height. They're not the same. I mean, hype, but he has a very eerie resemblance to Kobe's frame. And
Hmm.
just even so much that there was a video before the season of Max Christie doing like a pregame or
Yes,
some
yes.
media availability, and they covered up the top of his face, and it was just him talking, and we're like, shit, that looked like Kobe, man. But like, to your point, Max ain't fucking around. And yeah, the
Mhm.
talk at the beginning of the season, like Max needs real minutes right now, right now, right now. Well, that's also why the Lakers are getting their teeth kicked in by average to below average teams. Now that they have an actual roster and a
Yeah.
really strong bench, Max is being back to being a rookie, where he can work out, he can learn from his vets and be locked up with Phil Handy for a summer, right? Again, future is really, really high for Max Christie. I'm hoping to get an interview with him soon. I got some connections. His people,
Nice.
we get cut up at the same spot. So yeah, I'm gonna play that angle. We'll do it at one of the LeBron, the shop interviews. We'll remake that vibe, right? But yeah, man. Okay, so yeah, I won't revisit Mo Bamba because that is not something that I
Yeah,
care to talk about. Shout out Wendon though.
you have strong feelings of Mo Bamba, man. You have some
Raj,
strong
it's just
takes.
as simple as this, brother. It's just as simple as this, man. I was growing up, always brought up that I was going to be a center. I was going to be 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". Obviously, the 6'6" isn't a center height, but they thought I was going to be tall as shit. Right? I was 6'3",
Mhm.
probably like seventh grade. No, I was 6'3" freshman year. Didn't grow an inch. Right? Regardless, though, they in early 2000s high school, right? The center was still a back to the basket, right?
Right.
Rebounds on the block in the dunker spot, not shooting threes, right? Which I get. Everybody started turning into a unicorn. Then Mo Bamba comes around, all 18 feet of him. He getting his own theme song and stuff like this. Then he falls off the face of the earth down in Orlando, right? Now I'm trying to figure out why. What happened to this great wall that everybody was hyping up? And then I didn't pay any attention to him, right? And then I just heard about the hype, heard about how big and tall he is, saw what he was doing with Texas, right? University of
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah. Mhm.
Then he gets to the Lakers, and I'm like, all right, let's see. Let's see what everybody's talking about and how excited we are. And yeah, I saw the couple of games where he knocked down some threes, but it, I was just so taken aback by two things, bro. The one that he does not get his money, earn his paycheck in the post on offense, being that damn tall, and then two, watching guys that are smaller than him attack him at the basket. I was like, brother, you're a foul magnet, low key, and you take threes more than you take twos. I'm upset. New Jersey reference.
Yeah. Oh, I got that one. But yeah, he's a number 6 pick in 2018. I mean, again, guys like that to me, Ricky, are kind of who they are. Like 5 years in the league. He's a pick and pop big. Like, I mean, that's just Wendell Carter Jr. came over there. He took his spot basically, right, in Orlando. So
Yeah,
like Orlando's kind of
a guy who got shipped out of
yeah,
Chicago.
exactly. And so Orlando moved on, traded him for a bunch of second round picks, and the Lakers took a stab at it, but and for Patrick Beverly and 3 second round picks or something like that. But yeah, look, we'll see. I don't have as strong feelings yet. I'm still again, like to me, those type of players, we're putting them in a marginal role, right? Like go out, pick and pop, not expecting to do a lot. Don't just don't hemorrhage our defense, right? Stay at the rim, protect shots, let our guards chase over screens and just be in that drop. Don't let the guy roll behind you. That's kind of all we're gonna ask guys like that. And I think it just over extends Wenyan, which I think was the tough part. I would like to have the option of either going to Wenyan or Mbamba. I think Wenyan's a better player, but I would just like having that option. Now we're just small, right? AD comes out, there's no other center, so it's just Wenyan
Yep.
Gabriel, who's a 6'8", 6'9" guy. It would have been nice to have Bamba there, but I'm surprised though. That injury, Rick, didn't look so crazy. Like when he got the injury, I didn't think that was some 4-week high ankle sprain injury. But I mean, you never know with injuries. But like 4 weeks for a high ankle sprain that didn't look crazy to me. So we'll
Raj,
see.
Raj. This is what I'm. You know what? I'm. Last time I started talking about people's sprained ankles, I had the Lakers Twitter doctor in my mentions talking about how non ankle sprains are created equal. I fucking know that. Of course, I know ankle sprains ain't created equally. There's also shit that looks worse than others, and Mo Bamba's didn't look that bad. But you know what?
Uh,
You know what? When you're that goddamn skinny, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Okay, okay. You're that tall off the ground, you jump in. There's a lot to come down, and there's not a lot of support down there. Raj, you know what? Let's just move on. Let's get some predictions out. Kwame gonna be editing this podcast. Like, bro, I can't believe he actually had to go there and talk about Mo Bamba. My DMs with him and Omar, it was just like he had one game, and I was like, you know what? I think I know what this is, and I don't like it. So, here for him to prove me wrong. Here for
Fair.
all the Lakers that I didn't have any great hopes for to prove me wrong. But now all I'll say is just get well soon, Mo. All right, Raj. Let's get you out of here with some predictions, brother. We are looking at the bottom of the playoff bracket. We won't get crazy and talk about the first 5 seeds. We don't think the Lakers,
Mhm.
you know, it'd be nice, but I don't think we're getting there, right? You'd have to catch the Clippers at this point, and the Clippers now, they seem to have figured out their Russ involvement a little bit, and they figured out keep him with Kawhi and PG, and then don't play him overall a lot after that. So yeah, good job Clippers for figuring that part out. But um, six through 10 right now. We have the Warriors, Timberwolves, Mavericks, Jazz, Thunder, and then obviously we have the Lakers and Pelicans at 11 and 12. Um, Raj, let's fill in these spots, brother. Let's go
Sure.
6 through the last play-in slot. Where are we at? Once again, for the people listening at home, we have Warriors, Timberwolves, Mavericks, Jazz, Thunder, Lakers, and Pelicans. Don't think the Trailblazers are suited to make a run back into the picture.
I'm not either. So, like, to me, I think the bottom is gonna stay out. So I don't see OKC, Utah, or Portland at all getting in. I think the ones that are in the top 10 right now are the ones that make it. I think the Lakers jump Dallas and Minnesota. So I think they'll be in the 7, and then I have Minnesota, Dallas, and the Pelicans, I think, as finishing. The Lakers, Ricky, have the second easiest schedule, actually, finishing
Yes,
up.
they do.
Pelicans have a tough time. Brandon Ingram's still out. Zion. What in the world happened to Zion, by the way? Is there any news on Zion? His story is crazy. It's not the place to get into it, but yeah, his games played. If you go look at it, I mean, he's played 29 games this year. Missed all of the season before. So, but anyway, yeah. So I think the Pelicans are probably going to stay at that 10. Dallas, Luka's probably out another week. I think Kyrie Irving was out today for an injury that he said happened because he played 41 minutes.
Yeah, he did.
I think
He
that's
said
kind of.
Jay Kidd don't know what he doing, is what he said.
I mean 41 minutes is like you don't complain after 41 minutes. I mean that's not
You
a
do when you're
high
Kyrie.
that's not a high minute bar to like go out on your coach on. I understand if you played like 47 minutes, 41 minutes. But anyway, yeah, so Kyrie and Luca have their thing. They're a game under 500. We actually play them on Friday, so we'll see what happens there. Lakers play the Pelicans tomorrow, obviously. That's a big game to kind of knock them down another notch. Minnesota's playing really well, though, by the way. I still feel like we catch them,
Yeah.
but they are. Anthony Edwards has made the leap, whatever that means. He's made some type of leap. Mike Conley has been just an awesome fit for them. I think Gobert and Cat have like some weird synergy where they don't play well when both of them play, so they're kind of playing well because Towns is out, but he's supposed to return soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I think the Warriors, who are actually I think up big on Phoenix right now, and then the Clippers are probably too far to catch. I would have a different tone, Ricky, if LeBron was healthy, obviously, but
Yeah.
I think without LeBron, we're gonna win at a pace that's probably just enough to catch those two teams above us. But that's where I'm at. How about you?
I think that's fair. I do think it's a little juicy that the Mavs fall out of, that the Mavs fall out of the playoffs after,
Ooh.
swinging the Kyrie deal. So that will be interesting what happens there in the summer with that franchise. Please, Lakers fans, guys, we just spent 20 minutes just basking in the glory of D'Angelo Russell's maturity and development. Guys, I, I appreciate Kyrie's game as much as y'all do. Don't, as grandma would say, one in the hand is worth more than two in the bush. Okay? Yes, Kyrie Irving is a better basketball player than D'Angelo Russell, but brother, you just resign what you got. Leave the club with the one you came with. All right, just a lot going on over there. Anyways, yeah, no, Raj, I think it's funny with the Timberwolves. I've just been waiting to die, and I think I might just have to wait until Towns gets back, and then I'll get my wish. So, man, they were in the play-in last year, ended up losing. They could secure that eighth seed, but I think I'm going to give it to, well, I can't even give it to the Thunder because they are clearly on a different path with
Yeah,
Shea, or Shea's just really, not in a good spot right now. But if I can't trust him to play, now I got another sinking ship between the
yeah.
Mavericks and the Thunder. So it gets a little hard to pinpoint them after that. So I kind of got to give it to the Timberwolves just based off of that, the fact that they, and which is surprising when I first looked at the rest of their schedule, I was like, oh, they're cooked. But then, they're playing a little bit better basketball. So I'll put the Lakers at the 7th seed. I would just so desperately want the Warriors to just die one more slot so I could say the Lakers get that 6th seed. But you know what?
I
I
mean,
think
it's still there. I mean, you look at the standings, 2 games back in the loss column. It's not insane. I mean, that's not an
it's not.
insane it's a thing to make up, really. I mean, you look at their last 10, the Warriors are 6 and 4. They don't win road games. They have a huge I think they
No,
have a
like
road
at
trip.
all.
No, like, they just don't. Yeah, and they have a road trip coming up as well. Clippers have been playing a little bit better, I guess, but, I mean, they like you talked about, still the Russ situation. He's just not playing in fourth quarters. I don't think that's something that's a sustainable thing. But, like, yeah, we'll see what they end up doing. But 2 games is not crazy. The crazy thing to me, though, Ricky, I know this is a sidebar. Blazers are 6 games under 500. I mean, that's just, and their only wins are when Dame has like 40 at the half. It's just,
Yeah.
I think we can call them out. I mean, 6 games under 500. You're not coming back from that. They've lost 3 in a row. I think Dame has played in all of those. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Yeah, it's just, man. What I remember, they were like the. It's crazy how things happen, man. If you remember the Pelicans, I was looking for some. I forgot what other show I was
Yeah,
doing,
man.
but the Pelicans were like the 4 seed on January 1st, or the second, or the 2 seed on January 1st. By February 1st, they were 10th. I mean, like, this is, if you remember they might add Wemby because of where we were. Remember all those conversations
Yeah,
about like,
right.
or and like the Pelicans, they're a 2 seed. They're a finals contender. Who did that go out all the window? But anyway, like, yeah. So it's
Raj, they keeping they pick this year. If the standings just hold right now, that little pick swap,
that's dead.
they
Yeah,
gotta that's dead. So I'm very much looking forward to this week's matchup with the Pelicans because I'm gonna start. We're in the teens of games left, right?
hmm,
A 2-game losing streak, a 3-game losing streak, you're done. That's it.
right.
Your season's over for this race for the play-in, right? Or even the 7th, 8th seed. Lakers win over the Pelicans this week. I want AD to stomp on. Is that home or on the road? Hopefully,
On the road. Yeah.
okay, yeah, I want AD to stomp on the Pelican after the game in Kyrie Irving fashion, like he did on the Leprechaun when he came back and played the Celtics. I just want AD to put the actual death note on the Pelicans' doorstep because that will be the end of their season. And then as we continue to go down the road, if the Mavericks are reeling, another team that we are going to see, and we can knock them out, now the Lakers are on a Grim Reaper week. And
Right.
wouldn't that be lovely? Wouldn't that just be fantastic that, hey, we're actually going to start clearing some of the air up our damn selves by taking care of the teams that are in our conference and directly in the mix with us for these last few seeds. So I got high hopes that this is a productive basketball week for our Los Angeles Lakers as LeBron James continues to cook in his hyperbolic chamber. filled with the finest red wine that the world could provide. And yeah, he gets healthy. And, obviously this season rests on the shoulders of Anthony Davis's health, which he's been knocked down plenty, got back up plenty. We haven't
Hmm.
seen any scares so far. So knock on wood for that. It's gonna be fun, y'all. Whether we like it or not, the Lakers are in a position where not only can they make the playoffs, miss potentially the play-in altogether if things fall right and they get hot at the right time. But Lakers fans are 1000% going to get cocky as shit if they're matched up with a Memphis Grizzlies team the first round, a Sacramento Kings team the first round, which I'm less confident in a Kings series than a Grizzlies series. Is that too spicy, Raj? I
It's
think the Lakers would handle the Grizzlies, especially with the Steven Adams injury. People don't realize how big Steven Adams is, literally and figuratively, and what he means for that basketball team. The Grizzlies got a lot going on, including Ja, who we purposely didn't talk about. Hope Ja
right.
takes care of what he needs to take care of with himself, and he comes back a better person. He's all good there. But the last question before we really get up out of here: Sacramento or Memphis? Who you feeling? Who you sleeping easier about? Either way, if LeBron and AD are healthy, we sleeping pretty good. But who you think's gonna be a tougher out for the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, no, obviously we didn't touch on the jaw thing, but just from like that, like no jaw removes a contender basically from the West, right? I mean, Memphis to me
Yes.
was a legit contender in
Don't tell
jaw.
that to Dylan Brooks. But yeah,
But obviously, you hope the best for Ja, but like just like in terms of his removal, to me, takes them from what they are, a 2 seed, whatever, to like one of those bottom conferences, right? If Ja wasn't there all year, they're probably fighting for play-in spot, whatever, you know what I mean? So like this just to me, like Sacramento, a lot of people laugh at Sacramento. They're the number one offense of the league. De'Aaron
I ain't
Fox and
laughing.
De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis are legit like they're a problem. And if you can't score, like, let's say you miss 5 shots in a row, you lose. Like, they're up big on Milwaukee right now, who I think Giannis is even playing, but they just score at a pace, Ricky, that I've just never seen. They have the best offense, I think, in the history of the league so far. They just don't miss. Like Kevin Herter, even guys like Trey Lyles, they just got Kessler
Kevin Herter
Walker.
needs to get drug tested. He is out of his mind right now.
Even
But yeah,
Davion Mitchell goes and Metu, that guy Metu, they just take insane shots. They have a beautiful offense. So I think Sacramento's a tougher one. They have home court, obviously being the 2 seed. So that's a tougher matchup to me. I think Memphis you can out game. Like you can take Jaren Jackson Jr. kind of out of a series with physicality and stuff like that. Sacramento is just gonna score the hell out of on you. And then the defense isn't great, but you better be able to score or you're like you're
right.
not going to be able to keep up in those games. You're going to be down 10 in the first quarter. Like if you start off cold, that's how good they are on offense. So yeah, with LeBron and AD, you always have a puncher's chance. I mean, you just always have a shot with those two playing. But I definitely rather see Memphis, especially with the jaw situation, obviously up in the air. So we'll see what happens with that.
Real scenarios, folks. We're not just daydreaming right now. Lakers make the play in. They win a play-in slot. They're either the 7th or 8th seed, right? Obviously, Denver would be that first round
Yeah.
matchup, and we'll have Raj back on, to do some playoff previews. But if they end up getting that 7th seed, depending on how the top of the West shakes out, or even if they sneak up to those 2 games and catch the Warriors for that 6th seed, those are the teams you're looking at right now. So it would be interesting. I know those teams are not too excited about a healthy LeBron James in a 7-game playoff series potentially. So it's a fun time to be an NBA and a Lakers fan. I know there was a lot of pushback on the bubble, not the bubble though. I know there was a lot of pushback on the play-in tournament, me included. I thought it was dumb as shit. Now I realize I might be starting to get a little old because it actually is. It's pretty great now that it benefits the Lakers. But yeah, man, I think it keeps teams engaged longer into the season. And here we are in March having conversations about the 11th seed making a run through the playoffs. So, buckle up, folks. Well, we're gonna keep the content pumping for y'all as the Lakers wind down the season. Raj, thank you so much for chopping it up with me tonight, my man. The folks already know where to find Raj, but in case you new to the pod, Raj, just let them know where they can find your great work these days.
Yeah, for sure, man. Just follow me at, Raj Chipalu. Started, working with playback. We do a lot of cool stuff there. I have cool conversations with, just had a conversation with like Jared Vanderbilt's trainer and stuff like that. So, give us a follow on there. Always great to be here. Ricky, it's cool. Like, I think this is the first time in like 2 years got to come here and talk actual basketball, and like get to actually, instead of like trades and who we going to trade for and, Kyrie Irving trade requests, like we got to get into like real hoops, which was really cool, man. So I'm hopeful this is the return of that. Hope Laker fans are happy with that and enjoy the ride. As obviously these are our playoffs started 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So
Oh
like
yeah,
yeah, so like that's the way I think this should be viewed. Like every game is a playoff game. That makes it more fun, more exciting. And so hopefully, yeah, they get in, man, and then make some noise, scare some of these. I don't think I've seen a West this year with like more teams people just don't care about at the top of it, right? Like
ain't that
you ever
something,
seen
right?
that? Like Denver,
Yeah, they've just
Memphis,
written
and
off. Yeah,
Denver, Memphis, and Sacramento just doesn't move anyone's needle at all. Like they're just like Jokic can't defend a parked car. They're like Sacramento, obviously no defense, and then Memphis obviously just has with the Josh situation. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it where like the top three seeds might be like the underdog in a series, which is interesting.
fair.
So,
Vegas will, I'm sure Vegas will have some interesting odds
yeah,
going into those series. And I think it just comes down to this, man. Like the bottom of the West, that's where the championships are right now,
good
right?
point.
Like Steph's sitting at the 6th seed. LeBron and AD are 11, right? So, Phoenix is up there and KD, obviously, and we didn't even talk about all that, but KD also needs to figure out his ankle situation. Another guy that has always been very, very skinny, and that lower half of his body kind of failing him for being that damn tall. But I hope KD is able to come back because, the league is better when the superstars are all healthy. And a lot of the West superstars are kind of fighting for a playoff spot right now. So, for the NBA's sake, you better hope you see the Warriors and Lakers in there because if there's some issues with KD and that ankle the first round of the series, ain't nobody watching that except for the hoop heads, of course, right? So, Raj, thank you for rocking with me tonight, man. Of course, we'll get you back on in a couple of weeks as we get closer to the playoffs, brother. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks.
All right. That'll do it for this episode of the Late Night Lake Show podcast. Make sure you are locked in wherever you get your premium Lakers content. Make sure you are following the brand on Twitter, Late Night Lakers, YouTube, Late Night Lake Show, wherever you get your all that good stuff. So for Raj, it's Ricky, Late Night Lake Show. We'll see you on the timeline. Peace.